Okay guys, welcome back to lesson 26. Right, from the last lesson I have done some changes. I did not like the way the chest was sitting, so I made it a little small, a little unique on the chest, just below the breast. I don't want to fill up the whole body because I'm gonna be using that as I'm gonna make fabric and sort of clothing underneath the bottom part of the breast, as you can see there. I've also done a few modifications as I re-looked over the model. I wasn't quite happy the way the legs were sitting into the hips, so I was just editing this down and making the butt a bit more rounder because it just didn't it looked too square previously. So and I was just looking at the anatomy parts again on the upper thighs of the legs, and I just wasn't quite happy with the way it was sitting. So I was just smoothing things down using the grab tool and then using the draw sharp and then selecting between the objects by pressing Alt Q and just basically editing it down. I've selected all these objects just to hide, so it makes things easier when I'm sculpting and rotating around. Just go to object mode and press H on the objects to hide them. Or if you just want to keep the objects in scene, you can select them by pressing Shift and click, and then press Shift H to hide everything else except from the one that is showing. Anyway, in this lesson we're going to draw on some detail. I'm just looking over the body. I'm gonna draw some markings on the body, just roughly where I will be putting the clothing. I want to split up the clothing design a little to make it look really good with different colors, and make it look more like a warrior armor girl. So I'm just going over some draw sharp lines and just getting the trying to get the proportion right and the accuracy correct as I was just drawing them on. I think that'll do. So we just worked on the body. Took a little while just to get the lines right, but that's not too much of a problem. Just by using the draw sharp and just going over some lines. Doesn't have to be perfect now. This is just roughly what I'm gonna be wanting to do. Oh, and we're going to do the top parts of the breast as well. So we're just going to press Alt Q just to select them, and then draw over the top of them. So we have a few attempts here. So once I've got the proportion shape, I was looking at some clotheslines and seeing how they sit nicely. So I was just experimenting and trying to draw a nice smooth line going across. That outer bit is going to be covered up, and the top bit is going to be showing as far as it can be shown. I was just drawing over the top, making it a bit more sharper, as I will be coming back to this later on. This is just a guideline so we know where to sculpt it later on. Just going to bring out the breast just a little bit, just give it a bit of a point. Trying to see if I can get that to sit properly. If it don't look too good, then that's okay. I'll just smooth it down and make it look alright. So yeah, that'll do. Yeah, that's fine. So I'll leave it like that. Just smooth it down a little bit so you don't see the raised bit. If it looks a bit odd later, that's not a problem. We'll just sculpt over and just smooth it down. Okay, when you're happy with that, we're going to jump straight onto the legs. We're going to select the legs, go into object mode, press L on the left leg, and then I'm going to press X and delete the faces. I want to put a little bit of detail onto one leg, and then we will mirror it back after once we've done. You don't have to do this. You can do it by freehand. I'd like to be a little bit safe with the mirror. And I was just trying this out as well. So I'm gonna press Control A to reset all transforms, and then right click and set the origin geometry to the center of the object. And then after I've done this, make sure my mirror is turned on. So X minus X to plus X, because we're sculpting from left to right. But you will notice, because the leg is not exactly mirrored, that's absolutely fine. We just want a bit of markings just so we can see roughly where the lines are. This is just a little bit of a test, just to see if this would work. Because I put X and Y mirror on, and I just wanted to draw the upper part of where the leggings or the armor piece would be, like so. I'm just trying to get that right. So it doesn't have to be perfect, just roughly where it would be. So could have skipped over this probably. Could have edited this bit out so you're not too bored watching it. So yeah, constantly always going back over things. So as you can see, I turned the mirror off and I just redrew over the top, and then just smooth down the darker bits, the pointy bits. Anyway, I'm going to put X and Y back on, and I'm going to do the same just underneath it. So we've got the top of the lip, and then now we just got the bit underneath. Funny enough, this is absolutely fine. The mirror seems to be really good for this part, which is good. So I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm just going to turn the mirror Y off, but I'm going to keep the X on because we're going to draw down to the side of the leg. This is where the two colours of my design I have in mind will be separated. So I might start from the shoe and work our way up the leg, or start from the top and work down. So I'm just going to draw the sharp roughly from the bottom of the heel on the outside, and then just redraw it again on the other side, because this is where the mirror is not taken into consideration because it's going in, so therefore it's not mirrored very well. Then I done some sort of a fancy pattern on the side. This is a little bit of a tribal sort of pattern. I just thought would match with the rest of the armor for later on. And then I'll turn the X mirror modifier off and then just draw on the other side. You can see where it's sort of delved into the other side of the leg. It's just roughly where we would then just go over. It's just so I can try and get it as symmetrical as possible. It's not going to be exactly symmetrical, but that's okay, because it gives it a little bit of real look feel, and it makes things a little easier when trying to draw on the other side as well. So after just speeding up just a tiny bit, just to see after I've designed the pattern on that, just smooth things down a little bit at the front here, because we need a bit of a gap for the pointiness. And then when you're happy with your little design on your leg, then we can move on. So just smoothing that down. I didn't speed much up in this lesson. I took quite some time actually sculpting and trying to draw the pattern on. It doesn't have to be this deep, by the way. I feel like my radius 44 was a bit too high. I should have probably cut that down in half maybe when drawing on the pattern. Just needed a little bit of detail just to show. But anyway, we're going to bring back the other side of the leg. So what we are going to do, we're going to go to object mode. We're going to then press Control A. We're going to all transforms reset, and then go over to the mirror modifier and add the mirror on the X axis. Okay, let's end it there and dive into the next lesson.